Welcome to the Cinematic Doors podcast, a podcast where we review and give our opinions on your favorite movies or our favorite movies. And sometimes we have special surprises for each week where we bring new people on. But that's not this week. So you can find us at our handles on Instagram at cinematic_doors. You can go on Twitter at cinematic doors. You can also find us on our email or email us your favorite movies or questions or disagreements or corrections at cinematicdoors@gmail.com. And Josh, how do you spell doors?
Dores.
Josh, why are you going red?
apostrophe? Because I think we need to address how bad of a liar you are. Because I don't know if you've noticed this, Jordan, but there is actually someone else with us today.
By the way, well, I'm just blind.
Who are you?
So, yeah.
Who are you? Who are you? Tell us.
Oh, I'm introducing myself? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Payton. I know Josh and Jordan through camp and church stuff and just happened to be at the theater when they were watching this week's movie. So here I am.
Birthday party.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Josh has a birthday or something. So
right.
Yeah.
I do age.
So I think we are gonna make fun of Josh a little bit because it is his birthday next week.
No.
Good call.
And you know what's funny is Payton said, "Oh, I'm introducing myself." We did just talk before the show that Josh would introduce Payton. So
we did, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
And then even last night we go to see this movie.
You know what I believe in? I believe in giving people their voice and allowing them to speak.
That's good.
Respect.
That's very kind of you.
Unlike
Josh.
you.
Yeah,
who just interrupts.
I'm not kind at all, so you know.
Jordan, whenever we have someone on here, we just end up arguing.
Well, last time we had Curtis, and Curtis was amazing, and
Yes.
and he, I know Peyton's going to be better than Curtis because we thought Curtis would be like this expert on MCU stuff. We had to look up stuff, and anyways, we love you, Curtis. Shout out to Curtis. And
I honestly think Payton is an expert when it comes to this movie.
I don't know if I'm an expert, but like I was definitely a Nintendo kid, so
just talking to you after, I was like, this person knows their stuff.
Well, even some of your questions to me, like, are you a Nintendo kid or a Sega kid or whatever? And so this will be a good episode because we are going to eventually review the Super Mario Brothers movie, the animated film that just came out recently. And we all went and saw it last night because it was Josh's birthday party. He invited us all, and he forced us to spend extra time together. That
was actually the wrong thing. I was planning that the whole time.
There you go.
Because I just really wanted my friends to like me and want to be around me. So if I force them to be around me, then
there you go.
It all works out.
Yeah,
it does all work out.
But hey, Jordan, you know what? I think it worked out really well in the end because we got to really connect and hang out.
I got to meet some new people and
left.
Yeah, I had to go visit my grandma, so you can't hold that against me. It's my grandma.
Left us for your grandmother.
You got to visit your grandma. You got to visit her earlier than expected. So
exactly.
That's true.
So Payton, how was your week?
It's been a weird one. Just like we just moved back to Regina, so it's been a little overwhelming just trying to find places for everything, and I hate moving, but I do enjoy unpacking. But yeah, just like finding homes for everything, but there's so many things to find homes for, so I'm kind of over it at this point.
Right.
So when you say Regina, do you mean Detroit?
Yeah, sorry, I did mean Detroit.
Yeah. So it's hard. Like I'll let it slide this time because you're new to the city.
But... Yeah, well, I mean, Regina is just that one area in Detroit.
Yeah, that the county.
Learn your geography, Josh.
We are local to Detroit. That's right.
We are.
That's what makes our podcast that much better than all the other movie review podcasts. All the million movie review podcasts are
don't add us.
Pale in comparison to ours because we're local to Regina. Oh, sorry, Detroit, which is
I don't even know what
Detroit are
this
the same
Regina
thing,
place
right?
is.
They're the same thing.
I mean,
Payton, it looks like your
maybe.
packing skills are quite. You said you had a bit of a time unpacking, but your set looks amazing and
Oh, thank
looks
you.
all
Thank you.
unpacked and really good. So good
All
job.
the boxes are hiding
Podcast
out
ready.
of view of the camera, so
Right.
Oh
they're
yeah,
there.
yeah.
You just don't know they are.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
if
how
you
it
if you
goes.
looked to my side, you would see all the crap that I moved from here, and like, because I had to move my nightstand so I can put my computer on. So my room looks awful, but it doesn't seem like it.
There
And
you
I mean,
go.
for those who are listening to this, they can just make it up and know that
Yeah.
Josh is a messy person now.
No,
Right.
no, no. I'm really clean actually. I was just dusting earlier.
Oh, that's
You know what's
good. That's
what's
good.
really
Yeah.
funny about just listening? Like, I listened to this podcast for years and years and years, and like probably for 5 years, I've listened to this podcast, and I just started watching it recently, and I got this weird. It was so weird because I pictured the people to look totally different than they actually look, and it was really strange. I was like, "Oh, this is really weird. I don't know if I can do
You know
this."
what was interesting? I was talking to Kyla after, and she's like, "Wow, it was like I had my very own podcast at the theater," because like, and at first they're like, "I recognize that voice. Who is that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is Jordan. Like, he's the other half."
Oh, I love
And so
that.
like, it was just kind of cool that like they recognized your voice
Yeah,
over.
you
You're
know what I
basically
think?
famous, Jordan.
Well,
I wonder
hey,
how they picture you.
you know what we
Like
should do?
crusty, like short,
Crusty, short. I am very short.
gray
Yes,
hair.
I am very short, and my hair is going gray. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Last night, like it was super fun, and I know a lot of those people. Even meeting some new people and telling them that they listen, and someone was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I was listening to Legally Blonde the other day, like your last episode." I was like, "Oh, that's really weird. It's really cool." And I was thinking
Hey,
we
you know
should.
what? That's thanks to me
I know, but
because you slack. I do not slack.
no, but we should one day do like a live show. Like
That would be fun.
it'd be
That'd
super
be
fun.
sweet.
So I think we should do it like either this year or next year or like this summer. I don't know. Like I
On our
was
100th episode.
yeah, we'll see. But I don't know. It was just super fun to like meet people that listen to the show, and yeah, it was cool. So, and Payton, you listened to the show as well, and I remember being at winter camp and
Mm.
you telling me they were so excited to listen to Swiss Army Man because you're like, I don't know
Oh
anyone else
man.
that's watched that movie except for
Yeah.
Josh was the one that
Which
introduced
I've
us.
now
Yeah.
met two people who like that movie. One of
Mhm.
them being Payton, and then another, and he was saying, "I love that movie. Like it's one of
Right.
my favorites, and the music
Hmm.
is so good." Which Jordan did not like the music.
You're all wrong, but you can go back and listen to
Maybe
that
I'm
episode.
starting to think that you're wrong.
I just want to state for the record that I do side with Josh on this. I think Swiss Army Man
Yeah.
is a fantastic movie. Is it stupid? Absolutely. It's very stupid,
Yeah.
but high quality stupid in my opinion.
So that leads to the
Yes.
next question, Peyton, because our other divisive episode was Walter Mitty, where
Mm.
Josh, I
Which
kind
he
of felt bad for
also
Josh at
takes
the end
my
of that one
side.
because at the end of that episode, I
You're
just tell
mean.
him to like rant about why it's good because I just like just piled on that movie quite a bit that whole
Oh,
episode. So Peyton, do you agree with Josh when it comes to Walter Mitty as well?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do enjoy
yes.
that movie. And I actually watched it before you guys did the episode so that I could like be up on the movie. And
Refresh.
yeah, I just have such a huge appreciation, like especially for the cinematography in that movie. I think they did a
Hmm.
phenomenal job and like they used their landscapes really well and the whole adventure of just him chasing down this photo, I think is so creative.
I know, right? Oh, you know what, Jordan?
Very creative.
I'm really happy we brought on Payton.
Well, another member of your family, Peyton, thinks I'm really crusty, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. So
Have you heard that in the episodes?
Yes, I have heard Jordan be
Yeah.
called crusty.
yeah, that's why I'm
Yeah.
here. So that's why I'm here. No,
Oh, which by the way, Jordan, I did not fail on my job. I actually wrote down, went back, and looked at who texted me what.
yes.
So I'm gonna use this time right now to share. Going all the way back to classic Disney Beauty, which one was Kyla and another was Payton. So shout out to Payton, even though
Nice.
she's here.
Yeah,
Nice,
thanks.
And
nice.
then Jordan's gray hairs from, I think, Napoleon Dynamite. Carol texted me that one, or she told it to me in real life. Real life? Why did I just say that? In person.
In person.
This isn't real. And then illegally brunette, which was illegally blonde. No, legally blonde was Carol and Kyla. So starting to see a pattern here.
So I do have someone. I do have some of my people listening to the show as well. Josh,
Wow.
call me lazy. I know we haven't posted shorts yet. That is my fault. I have some ready to go for next week for sure. So we're gonna start posting some shorts on YouTube to build our audience. I get it. I had to learn how shorts worked, so I'm like such a
Yeah.
dinosaur. So, but
Crusty.
Josh, who's one of my friends, we wrote a.
Not
I'm
me.
not this Josh. I am obsessed right now and addicted to the show Succession on HBO,
Mm.
and so I made a post on our Instagram on the Monday, and Josh, whatever I post on Instagram, you can post on Twitter if you want. Just so you know. And Josh, one of my friends, posted that what he's watching, because I asked everyone what are they watching recently, and he said that he's been watching The Patriots, and he's got kids, so I think he watches it in chunks because he's got a lot of kids, a lot more kids than I do. So, but yeah, he's kind of obsessed with Mel Gibson's The Patriot, which is an older movie.
Oh, I watched that movie in
Yeah.
history class.
Yeah, so did I. And my teacher, have you seen that movie, Payton?
No, I haven't.
There is a scene. This is a slight spoiler, I guess. Not really, if you know any history, but there is a scene where someone gets their head taken off by a cannon.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a cannonball shot, and it bounces on the ground, and it takes this guy's head off.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it was in grade 8 class, and we all were watching it, and it hit the guy, took the head off, and everyone's like, "Oh!" And then
Oh,
the
gosh.
teacher paused it. He's like, "Who wants to watch that again?" We're all like, "Yeah!" Like everyone's cheering. It was awesome. It was so
I
good.
love that. My teacher, I remember watching Robin Hood
Yeah.
or whatever in history class, and so there was an F-bomb in that movie, and so she went
Classic.
to unplug her audio, which doesn't actually work. It just puts it onto the computer, and so she unplugs it, and it just drops the F-bomb. But it's like louder because it's coming from the computer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Classic.
And I'm like, very
Epic fail.
sly.
Epic fail. Yeah. So shout out to
Yeah.
Mr. Allen. He doesn't listen to the show, and I don't know where he is, but that's in BC. But that was my social studies teacher. Showed
You
us that
should send
movie.
this to Mr. Allen.
I should try and find him, creep him out, stalk
Yeah.
him.
Okay,
Payton,
by the way,
what are you watching lately, Payton? Like in the
Oh,
within the
man.
last week, or
Mhm.
a TV show, a movie? What are you watching?
Actually, tonight Ryan and I were watching the Babadook. So we got
Ooh.
just under an hour into it, and yeah, it's a really good movie so far. Like, it's definitely
yeah.
a spooky one. Like, it's a psychological thriller. But yeah, it's really good. The acting is phenomenal in it. It's just very like relatable in a sense that like the actors are reacting to the situations in realistic ways. So I think that's a
Yeah.
mark of a good
How-
movie. So
How far are you in?
50 minutes. So we've got
Okay,
another
okay.
30, 40 minutes left.
How is the kid for you?
Mm.
Is the kid
He's
annoying?
Oh yeah, he's so
Yeah.
irritating. But like I totally understand why. Like if I don't want to spoil the movie, but
Right.
yeah, like kind of knowing how the movie ends, I think he's totally justified in being as obnoxious as he is. And
Right.
I'm not a mom, but I feel like I can relate to the mom just in how exhausted she is. And yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's
And you haven't seen the whole movie yet, right?
No,
You
not
stopped
yet.
it? Okay. That leads to my next question. Can you? Okay, so obviously, Payton, do you do this often, where you like stop a movie and watch it again, like another day or another night? It's like, do you do
Only
that
if I
often?
have to.
Okay,
I
yeah,
prefer not to do it.
yeah,
But I was meeting you guys at 9, so I
yes.
had to
Thank
pause
you.
it.
Okay, thanks
Oh, so
for
you're like
we
in the
literally
middle of
interrupted
the
your movie
Babadook.
time. Yeah,
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 wow,
that's
look
all
at
right.
us. What a great podcast. We're like, hey, watch some movies, and
Honestly,
then
it
we
just
just
adds to the suspense. So I
okay.
oh
have to
yeah,
keep
like,
thinking about what's gonna happen.
So now we have to
you're
have you on
like
again to review the Babadook. We got to review
Yeah,
you're
that
like
soon.
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like talking about Mario, and you're like, yeah, I really liked when the Babadook. I mean Mario.
Yeah, right. Like Josh, do you do that, Josh? Like, can you do that with a movie? Or I know you watch movies on like
uh,
every device you have available, so
what? Yeah,
like your phone and your
I don't
iPad or
really do
computer.
that.
Yeah.
Um, I like it depends on the movie, really. Like if it's just a movie, I'm kind of just watching. Like I started watching 21 Jump Street.
Mm.
I stopped watching it. I was like, this is not it. I could not get it through it.
Oh wow, you
Like I'm
didn't like
not
that
going
movie?
back. No,
Like
I
the
Mm.
thought it was
remake or the
stupid.
reboot?
I don't
Like the
know.
Jonah Hill one with Jonah
Yeah.
Hill. Okay, yeah. Interesting.
Is that not the
No,
original
well, it's
one?
based off a TV show, I guess. It's not a movie it's based
Okay,
on.
well,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
thought it was annoying, so I stopped. I don't
Okay.
really like comedies though,
Right.
unless they're
That's
like
fair.
animated comedies
Yeah, we like
with kids
horror
going.
and sad, depressing movies, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I love being melancholic.
So I'm not kidding about the Babadook. I think either next week or in 2 weeks we should review the Babadook.
No,
Totally. I'm down.
And
we have to review a hockey movie next week
well, Josh, you
because
can pick
the
that. It's your turn to pick, anyways. So
okay, well, I have to watch the ones that you told me to watch.
well,
So
we could review the Rocket. The Rocket is amazing.
yeah,
Spoilers, I
I just
guess.
have to
But
rent it. So
yeah, okay. I want to rewatch it
unless you
anyway,
own
so
it,
I do own it, but I want to rewatch it. Unless you want to come over, I can have you over next
okay,
week. I
yeah,
talked to Heidi
you're
already.
not, or you could send me over MLB
I can send you over the special
15.
features. Yes.
By the way,
I love it.
I have the Interstellar bonus disc here. If
Oh,
anybody,
which is great viewing. You should watch it.
which is a callback to our Infinity and Beyond episode. If you
Episode
wanna,
11.
yeah. So if you want to understand, then
There you go.
go to that one. By the way, Jordan, are you gonna ask me what I have been watching?
I was I'm trying to be a good host,
Okay,
but you
this
interrupted
is
me.
my time to shine.
Josh, what have you been watching? How was your week?
Okay,
Happy
I
early
really
birthday. You're getting old.
thank you, thank you. I am. I'm actually
old man
1
Josh.
foot in the grave already, so you can pretty much say Josh's gray hairs. So, um, which by the way, my hair may gray before yours because I work with kids. I work at camp.
Well, I
and
have kids,
school.
so
I know, but like I'm surrounded by other people's kids, so like there's more fear because I'm like I have to make sure these kids are safe
I don't know, man.
because they're not my children.
It took me
But
45
you know what?
minutes and a
I
timeout.
can't say.
It took
I
me
can't
just
say
wait.
because I'm not a father.
It took me 45 minutes and a timeout to get my daughter to put on her outside gear to go for a walk. So
Wait, were
Oh,
you in a timeout?
no.
Oh yeah,
So,
no.
it's a process.
Yeah.
So Josh, what are you watching? How was your week?
So my week has been good. It's been weird the weather recently, but you know,
You're like a politician
I've been
dodging the
living.
question.
I've been living. Yeah, I know. Actually, I hope to save this country by no. I started watching The Last of Us and finished it,
Nice.
and I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I loved reliving my trauma from playing the game, so that was great. I've also just been like fully delved into Star Wars,
oh,
watching The
Nice.
Mandalorian, trying to finish Andor, and it's just you know what? It's just reminding me of my childhood when things were simpler. And this movie that we're gonna talk about, the same thing. So I've been feeling very nostalgic,
There you go.
especially because
Josh,
I'm getting older, so it
yeah.
only makes sense.
did you
That
watch
happens. The
Star
older you get,
Wars?
Josh.
It does. Did you watch Star Wars Celebration, Josh, or see the announcements? Some controversial ones
Um,
there. Payton, are you a Star Wars
I
fan?
saw things with
Not really.
I've like just recently started getting into it. I can't say I'm like a huge Star Wars fan, but like I'm keeping up.
Okay.
That's good. That's good. It's better
Josh,
than
did you
most
see
people
Star
who are
Wars?
like, no. I saw things with Rey
Right.
and like the new trilogy or whatever.
Well, her new movie, and apparently the rumor is that she's going to be pregnant,
Oh,
Ooh, ego prego.
which is really lame. Really lame.
Wait, who's the father?
Exactly.
Who is the father?
So
Welcome
that's
to
like
our
the
segment where we
rumor,
wonder
and
who is the
anyways,
father.
they're still going with the sequel trilogy.
No, we should add that segment, Jordan.
Who's the father?
Like, are you like the you know that
that
old
Amari
show?
sketch.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
or like Jerry
Like, are you
Springer.
the father? Like, what is it called? Like, you're not the father. Yeah. Woo.
Well, that's like Maury. That's a good callback, Peyton. So,
Thank you, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know that name, but I
Well, now you
know
got to watch Maury all weekend.
the
That's what you got to
show.
do.
No.
Let's do
Not
it.
that
I think
old.
he recently retired. So yeah. So you're liking Andor, right? You're liking Mandalorian. I haven't
Yeah.
seen any of the new season of Mandalorian yet. So
Mandalorian I've seen a lot of controversy around the last few episodes, but I have really enjoyed them.
right.
And it reminds me of the old Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
And that's just really nice.
I think once
It's made me want to actually rewatch it.
I think once I'm done with this, with Succession, like once the whole season is out, I think I will go back into Star Wars. I'm a bit tired of Star Wars, and
Yeah, see, I
like
was kind
Andor
of at
was
the same
great.
place.
Yeah,
I wasn't at the point where I was like tired as I was with Marvel, which Marvel I'm not tired, I'm just dying.
Not
Star
tired,
Wars,
just dying.
well, Marvel is
yeah.
Marvel is man, that is
Quote
tiring.
that. Star Wars, I was just kind of like, okay, this show, like Kenobi is, you know, but that's like one.
Like Obi-Wan
Because
Kenobi, yeah, that show was terrible.
I didn't
Mm.
actually mind Boba Fett that much.
It was terrible, except for one
Okay,
episode.
well, I didn't mind it,
Yeah.
so.
The other stuff
like,
has been good.
I haven't had an awful time with Star Wars, and like, so, like, I was just more just like, oh, okay, yeah.
Because
Star Wars
you
is
like
at a-
Episode 9, right?
I've seen it once.
Or you don't mind it? Yeah.
Like, I don't mind it, but I have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't rewatch it because then I can like
Don't. Yeah.
it.
That movie fills me with hate. And then I have to
Wow.
yeah, anyways.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
see, but also I was like maybe like 15 when that came
Right.
out.
Yeah, you're young.
My brain was undeveloped.
You're in the
and I
nursery
enjoyed
still.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peyton, do you have a favorite movie?
Ooh, that's a good question. For a while, my favorite movie was Arrival. So that's yeah.
Ooh. That's a goodie.
Yeah, big fan of that one. Another one of my favorites. I have a weird feelings towards this movie, but Shutter Island. I think it's a phenomenal
Oh.
movie, but it also wrecks me every time I watch it. It's
Yeah.
like
Okay,
going crazy and not knowing about it is like my worst fear, and just how ambiguous they leave the ending of that movie. Also, sorry, that was a huge spoiler, but
You
phenomenal
know what? No,
movie.
that
Hate
movie's
how it
been
makes me
out.
feel.
Peyton, I have a question for you,
Okay.
okay? So, this is spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen this movie, skip
Close your
a bit
ears for a
ahead.
minute.
Because this movie can't be spoiled. You need to watch it
Mhm.
fresh.
This is Shutter Island, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shutter Island, Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonardo da Vinci.
Martin
So,
Scorsese,
at the
director, that's
end,
important.
I don't know if we've talked about this on the pod yet, Jordan, but at the end, what did you think?
Oh,
What are your thoughts on that?
I
Because I have
don't
an
know.
opinion.
I
I have an opinion.
like my first assumption is that he is in fact going crazy, but I think it's also very possible that he's not, and they're just like they're lying to him and trying to, I guess gaslighting would be the term there,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
So
don't
my question
know.
is, do you think he's still crazy at the end? Let's say he is
Hmm.
crazy. Do you think he's still crazy at the end?
Oh, or do I think he's like snapped out of his delusion?
Because like I personally, I think that he is like he's come to terms with it,
Mm,
and like after hearing about what he did and how his whole family's gone, I think that he's just like, you know what, there's no point going on with this knowledge I have.
mm,
And so like, and you kind of see it where it's like, okay, he starts talking like nonsense again, and
right.
then he like looks back or something, and I'm like, maybe he wasn't actually like maybe he was sane and he was doing this because it's like there's no point going on.
Mm,
But also it mentions in the movie that it has happened before, so
Isn't the
that he's
twist
like
that
yeah.
relaxed.
everything is like elaborately planned around him?
Yeah, it is.
Because they're trying to figure out. Are they still trying to figure out what he's like? Why are they doing it? Does it explain why they're doing it? I can't remember.
It's been a
Um,
few years since I've watched this, so I don't
Like, are
remember
they
like
trying
all
to
those
like
hold
figure
details,
on, I'm
out?
but
trying to.
Are they still trying to solve the crime, or are they still trying to? Is that why they're doing it? There's a reason why I can't remember why they're.
Oh no, it's they're trying to make it so that he's sane because the
Oh
end
right,
goal
okay,
is to lobotomize him or whatever it
right,
is.
yes,
right.
yeah,
And so they're like trying to figure out, it's like, is he okay to keep going without this? And so
right.
he eventually gets to the like they just kind of go with him and let him solve it on his own. And so when he comes to a point where he figures out that he is the reason his wife is gone, um, then he's like he understands.
Mm,
But at the very end, like they go and ask him a question, and he's like, "Well, I need to solve the murder of my wife," and they're
Right.
like, "Oh, well, there he goes
It's like
again.
the
We
circle
better
again. The
beep."
circle go. Yeah,
yeah.
Like
it like
drill in the brain.
clicks back
Whoops.
in again.
And
Yeah,
so, but it's kind of ambiguous because like he looks back
right.
at Mark Ruffalo's character,
Mhm.
I think, and I was almost like, oh, like maybe he was sane, and like he just couldn't live with the fact that his whole family is dead. And
I
so he was like, it's
yeah.
better to get lobotomized and forget it
I
Right.
think
than to
I
keep
think that's
living.
part of it, Josh. I think like I don't think it's either or with that movie. Like thinking back on it
Well,
now,
the thing is, it's pretty like I've had this debate with a lot of people, and people have had very different
opinions.
opinions on it, and so
Hmm.
I like to hear what people think
Interesting.
about
No, that's one
that.
that I'm wanting to watch again, so I'll be putting
It's
that back on my
I
list to
I'll warn you,
That
refresher.
movie's really
the
sad.
second
It
time
It's a
is.
sad
watching
movie.
is I found it harder to watch the second time because I knew what was happening.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a really. I just remember that movie being really sad, and
Mhm.
yeah.
it's just devastating that movie.
Especially
So
as a
yeah.
parent, Jordan.
Well, like the
Yeah.
last episode of The Last of Us, like
Oh yeah.
that intro scene where she has like the mother gets slight spoilers, I guess, but I'm not going to say the context and the characters, but the mother gets this pregnant lady gets infected and then she has her baby and
Oh,
oh my goodness, it is devastating. It is like
yikes.
I,
Just
I honestly
gut-wrenching, hey?
honestly
Yeah,
paused
I
the
felt
episode and
emotion.
I was Josh was heartless, but I like
No, no, no. I felt it. I was like,
sarcasm.
ugh.
I just like I
I'm
was
not being
crying watching.
sarcastic.
I haven't
I
cried in a
don't
long time
cry, but I felt
watching.
something.
Yeah, I haven't cried watching something in a long time, and that was anything with kids now like gets me a little. But when
Mm,
it's
Yeah.
that well done and just like that situation and the setup, like it is just devastating. So Shutter Island
See,
is a
Jordan.
lot like that as well.
yeah.
And the imagery with the flashbacks or when he's remembering, I remember the strong colors and
Mhm.
it's. I mean, Martin Scorsese is
I
amazing.
can't
He's an
believe
amazing
he didn't
director.
get an
So
Oscar for that movie.
well, Martin Scorsese did get an Oscar for
Well, I'm
The
talking about
Departed. So,
Mm.
Leonardo.
oh yeah. Well, he
Um,
like Peyton. Do you find that he was like special in that movie? Like, I don't remember him being outstanding in that movie, but maybe I'm wrong.
I just
Um,
I just thought he played it well.
I don't really remember, to be honest. Like,
Right.
I watched this movie when I was first, like, actually getting into watching good movies, so, yeah, I
Okay.
don't remember, but I'll watch again soon and, let you know what I think.
Perfect.
Which
Perfect.
Jordan, by the way, I've actually been on the hunt past couple of months to find a movie that will make me cry.
Ooh.
Well, that Last of Us episode, I don't know what will make you
No, no,
cry.
no.
I'm gonna be
Here,
honest.
I watched The Father, maybe like 2 or
Right.
3 years ago, That movie made me bawl the first time I watched it.
Okay.
I watched it again with my family, like my cousins and my grandma, and I almost cried, but I didn't. So like I still do feel. It's just
You
I'm
just
not a
get
parent.
instantly desensitized is what happens.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anyways.
I'm not heartless.
No,
I
you're
feel,
not. You're
okay?
not.
I
You
feel
feel.
things. I
You
just don't
feel.
cry.
I feel things too, but I'm just crusty in my old
I
age.
have empathy. Yeah.
So
You cry to get rid of that crust.
we're just gonna rewind back to Josh's excellent segue before we went into. I mean, favorite movies is great, and we love hearing what our guests like to watch. So and what they are watching, and I hope you continue to enjoy the Babadook. Payton, I'm not going to say anything about it, obviously, but I'm excited now to rewatch it. I'm excited to rewatch it now that you said that.
Jordan,
so
you know what?
we're gonna
I'm gonna pause you and I'm gonna switch things up. So if you've made it this far into the episode,
30 minutes.
Text me nostalgic birthdays and then I will mention you in the podcast. So you can't just skip to the end now.
You have to listen.
Do you think I skipped to the end, Josh?
I don't know. Do you?
No, I don't. I'm not a cheater. I'm not a slacker.
Maybe it's Kyla. I don't know.
Okay, let's get to the main event. We're here to review Super Mario Brothers, which is an animated film by Illumination Studios.
Mario.
So that's actually pretty good.
That was really impressive,
Wow.
actually.
Okay, let's review Super Mario Brothers.
Okay. Not sure if you know who I am, but I'm about to rule the world.
Wow, yay.
But there's one problem. There's a human, has a mustache, just like you.
Do you think I know every human being with a mustache wearing an identical outfit with a hat with the letter of his first name on it? Because I don't.
Bowser is coming. Together, we are going to stop that monster.
How? Look at us. We're adorable.
Oh, I got this. No problem. Yes! Come on, Mario! Our big adventure begins now! Ah! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
There's a huge universe out there.
Whoa!
With a lot of galaxies. They're all counting on us. No pressure.
Okay, so this is Illumination Studios, the studio that brought us Despicable Me, Minions, a bunch of movies that are animated that are random, like The Grinch.
Wait, Boss Baby?
No, that's not.
No,
I don't think that's
Boss Baby's DreamWorks.
Secret Life of Pets, which was extremely disappointing. What a great premise, and they didn't use any of the premise.
The second one was more disappointing.
Well, the first one was.
The second movie was the first movie I watched in a drive-in theater, and it was an awful experience.
Yeah, so this studio, like I like the first Despicable Me, but this studio is not. It's kind of like mid tier level of quality usually.
Yeah, they make fine movies,
right? Sometimes bad,
which I've enjoyed. Like, I was technically a child when the Despicable Me movies were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I did enjoy them. I have to say that. So But now that I have a different eye on Illumination, I just see cash grabs.
Right.
So
So good segue, Josh. But we're gonna
Hit me.
hear from our guests first with Super Mario Brothers because before we get to you, Payton, real quick, that was the biggest kind of worry for everyone when they saw this first announcement. Like I still play video games. I think Josh does. Payton, you're a
Yeah.
gamer girl, right? Are you?
Oh,
I wouldn't
gosh,
consider
Jordan.
myself a gamer girl.
Jordan, that is awful. You're a gamer.
Gamer
girl.
lady. Yeah. I'm a
Gamer
gamer
lady,
guy,
sure.
so yeah.
No.
Are you a Game Boy Advanced?
But you are a Nintendo kid, right?
Yeah, definitely a Nintendo kid. Grew up playing a lot of GameCube, a lot of Wii. Like played on
DS?
N64, SNES growing up, and yeah, had a lot of the different consoles. Played a lot of different games. So yeah, this was like a definitely nostalgic watch, and my expectations were so low for this movie.
Yeah.
It pleasantly surprised me. I was pleased.
So, what was your first Mario game you ever played? Do you remember?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably Super Smash Bros. On N64.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because I grew up playing with my dad, like on the NES and SNES, and they would get me all the consoles like when they came out at Christmas time. And I remember seeing Mario 64 for the first time in a Toys R Us on like a demo disc or like a demo
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
TV, right? And I was like blown away. It was like in Boo's. It was in the castle where the Boo is, and everything was like in glorious 3D. And I think
Glorious 3D.
I play that game once a year. I actually go back and play it. I love that game. Yeah.
I wish I got the Nintendo Switch cartridge.
Well,
But
you can still get it. Like
yeah, but it's just
you can still get it. But yeah, or you can emulate, which is not stealing,
That's
but it
true.
is at times. So
I don't know.
So Payton,
Well,
you had low expectations for this movie.
Mhm.
What are your initial thoughts on Super Mario Brothers? Go a
Yeah,
bit deeper. Tell us.
I was really impressed by how they incorporated the actual game mechanics from a lot of the original games, and
Mhm.
like I also really appreciated that they didn't invent any new characters. Like all of the
Yeah.
creatures and characters, like aside from the human characters, that was a little weird.
yeah.
But all of the like game world characters were like identifiable creatures.
Mhm.
The Luma killed me. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have played Super Mario Galaxy or any of those space
I'm
games,
currently playing
but
it right now for the first
Yeah.
time.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So that really threw me for a loop. This joyful little Luma just
He's
ready
so
to die.
depressing.
He's ready to go.
I like
He's like,
honestly, I'll never play.
life is meaningless.
Yeah, like I will never with like a baby voice and like a kid voice and a smile, and he's like, "We're all gonna
Yeah.
die. Like this, we're gonna get sacrificed."
Yeah.
And he's like swinging around in his cage thing, and I'll
Mhm.
never play
So
a Galaxy the same way
It's
again.
almost like
Yeah,
it's almost like a Harley Quinn type star.
yeah, kind of. That's a good.
I can
That's
see
a
that,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good callback or whatever you call that connection.
That's something.
Something.
It's a text to text.
You know what's really interesting about this? It's interesting hearing your preconceived thoughts going in and hearing like you expected them to create new characters that aren't in the games. That's interesting.
I don't know if I expected them to do that.
Or you're worried.
Like to be honest, I hadn't really thought about what this movie was going to be. I just wasn't hopeful for much. Like yeah, I don't know. Like I never really thought out like okay, how would they make an actual story out of
Right.
just Super Mario Brothers? Like that's a very broad
Yeah.
a broad title. Like it's not very specific on like what they'll go into. So yeah, I think there are maybe some writers who would have gotten bored and not been as creative with the characters that already exist. So yeah, I think they did a good job of
Well,
like using the existing characters already.
Mm-hmm.
I was
I
a
mean,
little
I think a
disappointed
big
Princess Daisy
oh
didn't show up. She was always one of my favorites.
oh yeah. I think a big part of it was also like I'm sure Nintendo was like literally like the big brother watching or like the little kid watching the big brother play, like just like eyes on it.
Yeah,
Like,
don't mess
oh
this
no,
up.
don't do that. Don't do that. Like it's like they had their hand probably in it because Nintendo is like super like picky on their stuff. And
No doubt.
so like I'm like, no, you can't create a new person, Illumination. Come on. Like,
Did you feel that, Josh, watching it? Like, did it feel
well, no, like
right?
it felt like it was it lived up to what Nintendo should be. Like it was like I felt like it was Nintendo quality, if that makes sense.
Okay. Josh,
Like if Nintendo would make a movie, yeah.
what were
So-
your thoughts on this movie, Josh? Your initial thoughts?
But first of all, I want to say which the first Mario game I played. I think it was either New Super Mario's DS or New Super Mario's Wii. So I came in a different generation, but
Yes.
those are my. I played that DS game so much. Like me and my brother would play it, and we would like co-op play with both of our DSs. And so I just have all these like really fond memories of it. And like they had different bosses in each world. It's still one of my favorite Mario games. But I actually, okay, when I say I was smiling this whole movie, like I just had like the biggest smile on my face. Like I was just having so much fun. And I had very low expectations too. I was like, as soon as I saw Illumination, I was like, oh no. Like they're gonna ruin it. Like this is done. And I did see a lot of Illumination. Like you could definitely see that's an Illumination movie. Like Princess Peach looked like one of Gru's daughters. And so
Right. Yeah.
like I could see the illumination in it, but
Okay.
other than that, like it looked really good. The music blew me away. And I
the
kept
music was
like
so
leaning
good.
over. I leaned over to Jordan. I was like, oh my gosh, Jordan, oh my gosh. And I just keep like Jordan can attest to that. Like I was like, oh the music. And like the star music. Like I was so giddy and I was laughing and smiling. It's just I had so much fun. Like I haven't had that much fun just being in the theater. And it reminds me of when I went and watched the live action Lion King, which that movie sucks. So
Yes.
but when
it
I
does.
watched it in theaters, I watched it with a bunch of friends and I just had so much fun. We were just singing the songs. Like the movie sucked, but it just reminded me how much fun you can have with other people in the theaters. And this movie was good, so it made it even better.
Totally.
Like, I could gush on this so much.
One thing I wanted to point out about the music in this movie is it seems like Chris Pratt really can't get away from the 80s classic rock.
I know.
Like when they played Mr. Blue Sky at the end, it was just like,
yeah.
Is this like an inside joke to you?
I lean over to Jordan and I was like, I guess he just like can't get away from that music.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like,
there was
Chris
some
Pratt
random, there was some random licensed music in this movie, like random, like really.
Yeah, which
I
that
didn't
part
hate
was
it,
a little.
but
I didn't hate it, but it also felt a little.
It was
I think
random.
I can see what they were going for with that licensed music,
felt
though.
weird.
Like they were playing 80s music and like watching the Super Mario Bros. Commercial at the beginning of the movie. Like they animated it in a way that it looks like it was an 80s home film. Like watching that commercial kind of like it conjures up like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like that kind of aesthetic, and like this, and then they play music from that time. And yeah, I think I can see what they're going for. I don't think it was the best execution. I think they definitely could have chosen better music for those
I
segments.
didn't even think about that.
Well,
it was just like Back in Black or whatever.
Well, what I love about I love the 80s vibe because that's when Mario came into existence, right? And I love the original the opening scene in that diner, right? You have the Jumpman. I think Josh, you noticed it. There's the Jumpman Easter egg in the back, and Charles Martinet, who voices Mario in the games, he was playing Donkey Kong or Jumpman on that arcade machine, and he did his little Yahoo, right? It was awesome. So like there was some good I remember I looked over at Josh. I'm like, there's gonna be tons of Easter eggs in this movie.
Yeah,
Like
and there
Totally.
were.
yeah, and
There were
they did a good job
tons,
with.
and it was fun.
Well, they did a good job with like making them visible without like having them just like being blatant and like in your face. So and
Oh,
you
like
have
the
you
Mario
yeah
run.
yeah like how he
Oh, that
ran.
was
Yeah,
so good.
I freaked out when he was
yes,
like he was doing the course and he was sprinting and he put his arms back and he was like
Mhm.
I was like it just brought me back to when I would speed run the first level because I
Totally.
had done it a million times. It's just wow.
and
And the bomb
they've
drops.
never changed that. Like I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey right now. I've been replaying that
Yeah.
because of this movie, and they've kept his moveset's a bit different than that game. It's a bit easier, but they've kept the hands out when you're running fast, the
Mhm.
fastest you can run, and so yeah, this movie, this is interesting because I love the early trailers, and so when I saw the first teaser trailer on a Nintendo Direct, and I was like blown away by how good it was, like
Hmm.
how good it looked,
Mhm.
and
Was that the penguin one?
the penguin one, yeah, and then he like enters into the Mushroom Kingdom, and then it fades to black, right?
Yeah.
So it's a shame that they showed that penguin scene so many times because it's a
Yeah.
great scene, but when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this, and
Well, you still laughed. I heard you
it is
laugh.
so funny. Like when they have that little
Yeah.
ice cube and it
And
like
and
hits,
like
it's
I'll
so
give it to
funny.
them. I'll give it to them. They didn't put it all in the teaser. Like there
Mm.
were
No,
like
yeah.
little parts.
And like it just
so
takes out the one Koopa and everyone looks back and it hits and like all the snowballs hitting Bowser and he doesn't even move. Like it is funny. It is
Oh,
good.
it's
And those penguins
so
think they're
good.
so hardcore. And
Yeah,
the
he's like
penguins being depressed in the cage, like warning of what's the name of the character? Sorry, Peyton. The star
Oh,
from
the Luma.
Galaxy. The Luma, right?
the
Like they're
Luma.
warning about the Luma, and he's crazy. Like it was awesome. So,
He's crazy and he's like, we're all gonna die. No,
and
leave us alone.
by the way, Mario's family has been renditioned in a Nintendo Power issue, so we have seen Mario's
Oh,
family before.
okay.
So that was a good
What
callback.
about the random dude?
No, Spike. I might be.
Yeah.
I
Is that
think
his
no.
name?
It was his name. It was on his name tag. I think that was. I think that was all fan service to the original game because, like Super Mario Brothers, like before it was a platformer, because it was like this
Mhm.
battle arena game. I don't know if you ever played it. And there's tubes on each side, and you have to collect all the coins. You have to hit all the blocks within a certain amount of time, and you play against someone. So like you're versing your brother Luigi in the game, and then the main
Hmm.
bad guy in that game are spiked Koopas. So like spike shells.
Oh,
They're like going back and forth. So I think
right. Yeah.
Spike was like a call out to like the enemies of that original game, right?
Well,
Like
that makes
their
sense.
rival. Yeah. So I went into this movie with high expectations, and I agree with you both. I like the movie. I want to see it not in 3D to see how it
Yeah.
looks. The animation. I think this is probably Illumination's best looking film, and it
Yeah.
helps that the Mario IP looks amazing. Like Mario,
Hmm.
Mhm.
there's nothing else that looks like the Mushroom Kingdom. Like there's nothing else. And even their rendition of Brooklyn and stuff was a lot of fun. It felt like watching just old school cartoons in a way. Like I don't know, it had this weird feeling of like not a lot of CG movies, animated movies have lost that feeling, and it kind of brought a bit of that back where some of the humor
I
was
could
just
see that.
really cheesy and dumb and not like slick and like it was I liked kind of those foibles a little bit. Like it felt like an old school cartoon in some ways. Even with like Mario not liking mushrooms, like that was awesome. Like that was
I
good.
loved that
and-
I
detail.
related so much because I
It's-
hate mushrooms.
and
I
like
was like,
Peach
I
is
was
like
thinking, I'm like, oh,
when the power up scene where Peach is like showing him how to power up and she's like shoving the mushroom in his mouth, like that was great. That was really good.
and the part where he's like, because it's like a montage,
Yeah.
and then there's a
Mhm.
scene where he puts it in, then it shows him like, oh, and he's like puking over the edge, like, I don't know.
So yeah, for me, like this movie could have been 2 hours long, and I was in the world and I was in it, and
I was disappointed for it to end.
yeah,
Like,
and it moves
It was
very
very well
fast.
immersive.
Yeah, it moves very fast, and which is fine. It's a kids movie, right? It's for kids.
mhm.
Yeah, and so
Well,
I
is it
wasn't
a kids
disappointed. Like,
movie?
this movie's good. I loved it. It was fun. It
The
was
thing
great.
is, this movie I feel like is more aimed towards an older audience, but disguised as a kids movie.
I don't
I
know if
think
I
they
agree with that.
And I think that's why it did as well as it did,
mm,
because kids are going to it and adults are going to it because it's Mario.
Well,
I think
kids,
they did a
adults are.
really good job of like knowing their demographic and
Mm-hmm.
like
Mhm.
knowing that people of all ages are going to have some kind of
Which,
experience with Super Mario, Nintendo in some capacity, whether that's like from 20, 30 years ago, or if that's
yeah,
kids from
new
today who
Mario
only
will
know
learn.
Mario Kart. Everyone's going to have
Yeah.
something to relate to in this movie.
Right.
Which is something that Illumination has never been good at.
Mm,
Illumination has always been poor at, oh, it's just a kids movie. Oh, it's just funny for kids. And so for them to be able to make a movie where all ages can enjoy it is like, wow, you did it. You made a good movie.
Okay.
good job.
Here
Good
comes
job. Like, I don't know if I should pat you on the back.
here
'Cause...
comes Krusty Jordan to kind of disagree. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the thing: is I think what's happening with this movie is adults that grew up with Super Mario are bringing their kids. So I think there's a lot of kids that have never played Super Mario or like don't
Mm,
really have that fondness for it. Maybe Mario Kart's a bit different because the whole world has played Mario Kart. That game
yeah.
keeps selling. That game is like Mario Kart 8 has been resold multiple times, and it is still like one of the top selling Switch games.
Mhm.
Like that game's
It's a good
insanely.
game.
It
I
is, and
liked
it
it
is a
over
good
the
game.
Wii.
And so the thing that disappointed me about this movie was I thought it was too focused towards kids. And
Mm.
with the fast-paced nature of it, like could have been an extra 20 minutes. It moved from thing to thing really quickly, which was fine. I was kind of expecting that, to be honest, but it did it like Illumination. All their movies are kind of guilty of this, where things are just like moving at a rapid pace all the time. And it just makes it kind of feel, I don't want to say shallow because I wasn't expecting like this deep moving. And there is a moment in this movie that actually has some good emotional, like I love the relationship between Mario and Luigi in this movie. I think it's
So
actually
good.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cute. Like it's kind of like this like kind of really innocent, like brotherly,
Yeah.
like it's just really wholesome. Like I really
Mhm.
I
liked it,
know.
right?
It's
So
just
it's
so
there.
feel good.
I just the thing that disappointed me was I kind of wanted more Nintendo in this movie. There wasn't as much Nintendo as I thought there would be. Like there wasn't as much, like Yoshi wasn't in it. I know they teased Yoshi for the next movie. There was like the scene with the Yoshis that's like super quick.
I was
So
disappointed in how short that was too. That was
yeah, like there was a lot, like the Luigi Mansion kind of teaser stuff. I wanted more of that. Like
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
wanted him to go and explore the
Spooky
castle
movie.
because it looked like a boss castle, right? A lot of this movie, like I liked it. I just wanted a bit more of each thing at times, right?
Well, I think a big part of it is like they needed to put everything in this movie. Like they needed to, or they felt like they needed to put every game into it and add
Right,
homage to everything. And so there wasn't, like, they did pretty much call out every single Mario.
right.
Even like I'm sure they had Mario Odyssey somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Oh, dude,
And
the
like,
whole plot's Mario Odyssey.
yeah, and so
Bowser
it's just like,
marrying
oh right,
Peach.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's Mario Odyssey.
oh,
Yeah, and
dumb
like
me.
and
Literally the
the
suit.
suit and the hat and the
Um,
costumes.
and
That's
so
all Mario
like
Odyssey. Yeah,
everything, all Marios were in this Mario movie.
right.
And so, and this is, I feel like this movie is just like a, here, we can do it. Now we're gonna make 10 more movies.
I agree.
Mhm.
And so
Yes, it was. If I think I said this to you, Peyton.
it's
I
the
think you
next
were there.
Halloween franchise.
This movie felt like a pilot episode of a show. Like it
Oh,
felt like,
totally.
okay, we got the green light. Let's just like create what everyone wants to be created,
Oh,
like
you
what
know
everyone
what?
wants to
Is this
watch,
gonna be
right?
like the Minions movies?
Oh, but it's gonna be like, dude, it's gonna be
Oh
10
no.
times better. Like, because
I
you have Mario
think
IP,
Okay,
right?
well we
So
hope
Payton, yeah,
so.
Payton, what
We
are you
can
gonna say
only
there?
hope.
Oh, I think this is going to be another MCU. It'll be the Mario
Yes,
Cinematic
I
Universe.
agree.
And I don't know. I mean,
The
hopefully
MCU.
15 years, 15, 20 years, we're not having the same attitude, just like being sick of Marvel. Now, hopefully, I don't know. As I say that, I don't think uh, Illumination should go that far at all. Maybe
Right.
get
Yeah, no.
5 more movies out of it and just be done.
If they start making TV shows, it's like stop.
Too far,
Well,
too far.
okay, so you know what's so like this movie is like selling like it's past the 500 million mark, and
Yeah,
this is
no,
the second
it's.
weekend.
I think I'll go to this movie
I'm
again.
just gonna see what the report is. Like this movie is the best-selling
Second
animated movie
birthday
of all
party.
time.
It only has 58% on Rotten Tomatoes, though, hey?
Yeah,
But
so that was the next thing I wanted to
audience
talk about.
score
Yes.
is 96.
So, and I think Josh, you talked about it. Like, let's get to the voice acting before we get to that, Payton, because we do have to address the low scores from the critics versus like the audience score is 96%.
Wah, wah.
But before we get to
Even
that, like,
though
I didn't
feels-
like Seth Rogen. I did
No.
not like Donkey Kong in this movie.
No bueno. Seth Rogen is hard.
I was trying to place his voice all night, and I'm like trying to sneak peeks at the cast list on my phone, but not wanting to be that person who's on their phone at the theater.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense for sure.
Yeah. So like I did not. It just sounded like Seth Rogen doing Seth Rogen,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
feel the
it's
same
tough.
way
Yeah.
as I feel the same way about Chris Pratt as Mario. I thought he just sounded so boring. And I know, like, when the trailers came out, there's a lot of reactions like, why doesn't he sound Italian? Why doesn't he sound like, it's a me, But
Right.
would you want to listen to an hour and a
I
half
don't
of
No.
that? No.
I thought he did a good job.
I
I
actually had no problem with him.
My thought with Mario was there wasn't enough Mario in the story. Like it just Mario was kind of, and I liked the story. The story was good. It was more about everyone, right? And I just wanted a bit more Mario centered stuff. Like the whole sequence. I think my favorite sequence in the movie is where Peach teaches Mario how to be Mario. Like
It's
that's
so
why
good.
I love that sequence. I just wanted like another scene with them two like that, right? Because the building of the chemistry between them two was my favorite part of the movie. And so I just wanted more of that, more Mario. So maybe that ties into what you're saying, Payton. And I liked Chris Pratt. Like it didn't sound like Chris Pratt, which is nice.
Black.
Like it sounded good. Jack Black as Bowser.
Jack Black
oh
was
my
phenomenal.
Goodness. What are our thoughts on Bowser?
Pages.
Yeah.
I've had that stuck in my head all day today. I can't get it
I
out.
listened to that song driving home from the theater.
Not
Can we just
surprised.
get a Bowser spin-off movie that's just all Bowser?
Yeah.
Like
And
that's how
I
good
loved
Jack
how
Black
he's
was.
like
Yeah.
he's so Bowser in it. Like he's like, will you still marry me? He's like, no, you moron.
That stuff was amazing. Yeah. Him switching from being like this totally awful Koopa to like being so concerned if Peach likes him or not was just and, like,
I know, yeah. And he's
competition
like,
between
he's
him
so
and Mario.
self-conscious.
Like the story was
Jack
really
Black
good in this movie. It was
blew it away.
Yes. It was
Blew it
like that
away.
stuff was so fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, and the little like wizard guy, he's like, oh no.
Yes. Who is that voice?
No,
I
my
gotta look it up.
fingers are stuck.
Because it sounds like a famous voice, but I'm gonna look it up. But yeah,
It's Kevin Michael Richardson.
Oh yeah, okay. I wonder what he's in.
Who?
Kevin Michael Richardson.
Plays Kamek, the
Keegan
little wizard guy.
Keegan Michael Key was Toad.
And that's a bonkers voice. Like he did a good job.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't even sound like him because it's such a high pitched.
Oh gosh, this guy, he's King Julian, I think, or like Mort.
Is he?
Wait,
I
he's
think
Maurice.
yes.
Oh yeah, I could hear
that
that.
is there we
And
go.
he's also in Gravity Falls.
He's in the
which I
Animatrix.
love that show.
Yeah, which is
He's
old
Sheriff
school.
Blubs. Oh, have you seen Gravity Falls, Jordan?
I have not. I've heard it's good.
It's actually Like,
So,
that's good.
and the animation, did we like the animation style, the way it looked? Everything was good?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was so good. I
So
caught a lot of really small details in the animation, and I thought they did such a good job. Like especially in the Rainbow Road scenes, they did that
Yes.
so
mhm.
well.
Which, speaking about Rainbow Roads, Jordan seemed very concerned at the beginning of the movie. He's like, I really hope they do it well. How do you think they did it?
Okay, so the Mario Kart sequence. This is again my main criticism of this movie. There was not enough Nintendo in it. Like that sequence was too quick for me. It was over too fast. It was like there was more attention paid to the Super Smash Brothers sequence, right?
Mm.
With the fight between, and that sequence was fine. I just didn't like Seth Rogen that much,
Ugh.
but the Mario Kart sequence, the build up to it was awesome. Like how they picked their cars, just like Mario Kart 8 was
It's so
awesome.
Oh,
good.
Like
it
so
felt
good.
so good.
That was great. And then
I
like
was
the cars they picked, like Toad in that big monster
yeah.
truck and Peach's
All I was thinking about was
motorcycle.
picking the female villager, which is my go-to,
Yes.
driving a Mercedes. And I was like, female villager driving a Mercedes when?
That's funny. Yeah. So and like yeah, and Toad was so funny in this movie. Like Toad's the frying pan
Yeah.
thing at the beginning when he's like, you think he's gonna
Oh,
smack
that
them,
was
but he starts
Mhm.
cooking, and it's like, hey, go, and like that was
I love
great.
that.
Speaking of
Oh.
that scene, that was one of my favorite Easter eggs when the Toads were like, "Nah, there's no princess.
Yes,
She's in a different castle." That's such a
yes,
good callback to some of the older games.
absolutely.
What,
So
is that a callback?
Yeah, that's in
have you not played the NES game, like the original game, Josh?
No.
yeah, that's from like the original Super Mario Bros.
Yes, like if you
What?
every boss castle you go into, and then at the end it says Peach is in another castle, and it says it in Super Mario Brothers 3 as well. It says it at the end of each
Oh.
stage, yeah, or each
Huh.
boss, like boss castle. It stopped doing
Wow,
that.
I didn't
The Super Nintendo game stopped it, but it's in the original
see.
NES
I
games.
never
Yeah,
like my first Nintendo device was either the Wii or the
right.
DS Lite.
So going back to
So
the Mario Kart sequence, the actual sequence, like they didn't really throw any items at each other. It was just the shell. The
the
Rainbow
shells
Road
and the
was disappointing. Like it was just kind of like, I mean, I guess there was the other lanes. Oh, maybe it wasn't. I guess they thinking back on it now. I think my main gripe was I just wanted more of it, and
Yeah.
maybe another
yeah.
course, like do another sequence where they have to go somewhere
Well,
else and
to
do
be
another
fair,
course. But like
they did
the
have the
jumping.
drive-in scene at the beginning.
Right. And the jumping scene from like the scene where they jump from the lane to the other lane, like the shortcut that was a good
Mhm.
It would
callback.
not work.
Yeah, that was a good
It
callback.
would. I tried that
So
so many times as a kid, and it never worked.
you gotta get
I'm
good.
I was thinking the
mad.
same thing,
Good.
Josh.
Why did it
No
work then?
way.
I would literally drive off, and I've seen kids do this
Yeah.
recently, and I'm like, it won't work, you silly kid. I
No,
would know. I
Lakitu's coming
tried.
for you for sure.
I know, and then Lakitu's like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, so
Oh, it's just.
but like it was great. I just like wanted just a bit instead of rushing to the next scene, just a little bit more Nintendo. Like I don't think Lakitu is even in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like
He was very
was he?
briefly at one
Was
point.
he?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
like,
You know
what
what would
it
have been really cool when they fell off the track? Lakitu picked them up.
Yes. Like why? Like that's such an easy like stuff like that. That's what it means, Josh.
But
Yeah.
then they wouldn't be able to go to the water. Then move.
Right. Right. So it's like even have him pick someone else up, right? Or like you could,
Or like someone's driving backwards, and then he's like, "Wrong way, turn
I
around."
think-
So yeah.
I think they featured Lakitu when like Peach and Toad caught up to Bowser's ship. I think
Okay, yeah.
Lakitu was grabbing someone, but he was in there. Or it might have actually been at the wedding. I can't remember, but it was
See, I'm
so
not-
brief.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it again for sure. I was
should take your
surprised.
kids.
I was well. That's the next thing is that yeah, I just was surprised of how much Nintendo stuff wasn't in the movie. Right, so I know it
Mhm.
felt a little bare bones in that regard. Even though what we got, I really did like. And the interesting
Yeah.
thing is we're not we talked about video games, and I know video games can be really addicting for kids. So I think I'm going to wait till my kids are like 6 years old to introduce them to video games. And we're actually going to introduce Mario as the first game because Heidi likes it
Oh,
because it has levels. Like, we're not going to introduce Minecraft, a game that's super open-ended where you can play for hours and hours and
ooh,
hours, right? Until
we
they're
don't talk
older.
about that.
So because Mario
I
has
spent
like,
so many
we
hours
can
on
play
Minecraft.
Poppy, if they're interested in video games, because I have daughters so far. I'm not saying that
They
there's no
better
gamer
be.
girls, because we have a gamer lady on the show today.
Oh gosh,
I had to say it
Jordan,
again.
you're digging
I
yourself a
had
hole.
to say it again. So, but
Gamer girls.
we've talked about how Mario, like a game with levels and a game that any kid can kind of pick up and play, right? And I have some of the older
Yeah.
games. I do have an NES as well with the original controller. So
Mm.
but what's fun is I can show her this movie before she plays Mario, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think she'll love it. Like, it's kind of silly,
And then she'll
yeah,
probably like the game even more. Like, oh
exactly.
my
And
gosh,
that's
this
why
is
this
Totally.
good.
movie is very smart. This movie is
Yeah.
smart for Nintendo to do this. I actually Josh, you talked about creative control at the beginning. This movie felt like Illumination. Like, I don't think Nintendo really, I didn't feel like the studio was like coming down on the movie very much. Like, there was quite a bit of creative freedom, I
Well,
felt.
no, I
in the movie.
I
Yeah.
feel like when I'm saying that, I mean they probably just had to run things by Nintendo.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's
It's
like
their IP. Yeah.
like
Yep.
that's what I meant. Like Nintendo had to be that filter.
And
So it's like
I think that's why this
they
movie
could
looks
do
so
what
good.
they
Yeah.
want, but then it's like, well, Nintendo's like, no, you need to up it up,
Yeah.
like make it better, or yeah.
So let's address the critic scores. Critics did not like this movie.
Ooh.
58%. It's gone up a little bit over the week. It used to be like, it was 51 at a time, or 52.
Okay.
So critics really don't like this movie. I know.
See, I
Yeah.
don't like Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, let's look at individual. So, like, this one lady said, a frantic Easter egg hunt of a film that does the bare minimum to please its loyal existing fan base. So she thinks it
Hmm.
was very minimal in its fanfare. Another lady says the whole package is a deranged mishmash of overstimulating elements.
No, my ADHD brain was thriving.
Dylan said this critic said, it is the laziest
Dylan.
possible version of a Mario movie. And for most viewers, young and old, that'll be totally acceptable.
We should get Dylan on the pod.
Yeah.
Call him
So,
out.
like, what are some of our, like, are we surprised with the critical reception? Do we care? Are we?
I mean, I see why they see that, but also critics have this filter where like they can only see like the technical stuff. Like I feel like a lot of critics don't see it in the way where it's like experience, and they just have like very closed off mindsets when it comes to reviewing movies. So like for me, which I'm not really into movies to critique them or pick them apart. I'm going to see this in a completely different light than somebody who is getting paid to pull it apart scene by scene and then write a review on the whole thing.
Right.
So,
we're reviewing it right now.
I mean, I get why they say that. I know. And I know that, but I'm not like
It's not like you're
"Oh, I
sitting here
hated
with
how-"
a checklist hitting criteria or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
saying like, oh, I can't believe they had that little, like, I'm not getting paid to do this. Like, this is
Right.
literally just me speaking my mind. And like, I'm not like, oh, that one scene, stupid. Like, why would they? That's not even realistic. Like the Kanuki Mario, he can't fly that long. Which, by the way, he can't fly that long.
No.
So
That was like one of my main issues. Like, as far as I think earlier I mentioned, I enjoyed that they kept most of the game mechanics. The Tanuki
Yeah.
Mario was terrible. They
I
just
really
totally
wanted
botched
him-
The
that
cute,
one.
but the execution of the joke was funny. Like when he's like
Mhm.
purring and
it was
like,
really
getting-
good. I just think
Yeah.
it reminded me of when I was a kid and I couldn't fly that long.
Have you guys played? I think you might be wrong. Have you guys played Super Mario Brothers 3D Worlds?
Yes.
He can fly that long in
But-
that game,
Okay.
or longer. It's like a glide,
No.
isn't it?
You like build it up and then you can like glide down. And it's the
Right, okay.
same in New Super Mario Bros. 2, the
Yes.
coin one that came out for the 3DS and had all the coins, which I also played that one and
Right.
loved it. And if you died all the time, you get the invincible one, where you could just like run. Don't ask me how I know that. I didn't die a lot. But yeah, like, oh, where were we going with
So
this?
Payton, yeah, so I guess my question is, as a film, is this a good movie? Is this a good film? Are the critics right about the film? Because we describe why we liked it. I mean, we were laughing. We grew up with Mario. This thing is like overstimulation for my eyes because it's beautiful and the animation looks
And it was
amazing.
3D.
And it was 3D. And it's like Mario in movie animated, which is a great idea to animate a Mario movie. Like, you know what I
Which
mean?
it did not feel 3D, by the way.
No, it was so minimal.
Like, now
No,
that I
not
look
really.
back,
They
I
didn't play
forgot it
around with
was
that a whole
3D.
lot.
I forgot it was
So
3D.
yeah, so
actually.
Payton, what are your thoughts on like, are the like this one critic says, it is, when all is said and done, intensely mediocre, prettier than a lot of animated mediocrity, but pretty only takes us so far. So
No,
what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a good point. But I mean, for me, when it comes to watching movies, like the point of watching a movie is like either because I'm enjoying it or because the people I'm watching this movie with are enjoying it. So like
Right.
to me, I'm not necessarily watching a movie to like you said, Josh, like break it down or critique it. I would say it was a good, enjoyable movie. Was it technically correct in every way? Probably not. But like I'm not sitting here with a criteria book either, so
Yeah,
I would
especially
say it's
'cause-
good. I enjoyed it. It brought up a lot of nostalgic feelings for me, so
Right.
I'd say that's a good movie in my books.
And like whenever you
Especially-
heard the little chimes, like the music, when you heard it
Oh.
lining, they
I
did
was
a
like
good job
dying.
of that.
I was like
Definitely.
melting in my
Yes, you
seat.
were Josh.
Like I was full on gushing.
I will say, I think with this critic, I actually he gave it a rotten score because of this critique. I think I do agree with this critique. I do think Illumination is still a mid-level animation house. There
Illumination mid.
there was just like something. I mean, like, by the way, Pixar used to be the king. Modern Pixar is terrible. Like, it's not what it used to be. I haven't seen Luca, so that's the movie. Everyone says I'm wrong with. I haven't seen that movie yet. So
You're probably gonna hate it because you hate everything I like.
no,
so.
no. Like I like Encanto. Like I like newer. I don't hate any. I'm not one of those guys that thinks anything new.
Yeah,
is
but
bad.
you still hate everything I like. So that's.
What a friendship you guys have. That's beautiful.
What a friendship.
I know.
That's a bit of a hyperbole that you're saying there, but that's fine.
Well,
just because I don't like Secret Life of Walter Mitty doesn't mean I hate everything you like. So come on, Josh. But so
it feels this way, okay?
Yeah, like I do feel like this movie ended. I felt like there was something missing. I wanted a bit more. Exactly. Like I couldn't quite describe what was missing.
That's what they wanted, though.
No, like you talked about the way Peach looks, right? Like stuff like that, little stuff where it's like some of it felt a bit off, even though I was enjoying it, right? Like I think, and Illumination movies
almost
feel like that to me.
Uncanny Valley.
Maybe like there's just something about like Despicable Me is good, but it's just kind of forgettable. And this movie, I think the reason why this movie isn't forgettable is because of the IP and the way the animation looks within the IP's rules is amazing, right? I will go back to this movie just because of the way it looks alone and the way it sounds with the music and some of the sequences. But I do think there is something missing for me still. Like I'm not disappointed with it. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but I'm happy it exists. I'm happy it's there, right?
You went in with high expectations.
I did. Yes. Yeah.
Payton and I went in with low expectations.
Yeah.
And we're like through the roof. See, I've been telling you this, Jordan. Don't get your hopes up because then they'll be broken. You
No,
think
and
you
then
want to know why I feel
this
no
movie is
emotions?
not this
Because
movie.
of these movies.
This movie, I disagree with the 58%. This movie is not bad.
Yeah.
This is this is Illumination's best movie. I just think
I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
for that migration movie.
the duck movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like ducks.
Jordan, I have a
So-
question for you.
Yes.
With how you said you feel like this movie is kind of like a pilot. If you think
Right.
of it that way, do you feel more satisfied with the level of detail in the movie? Just like
Well,
with that frame of mind
yeah.
that it's pilot and setting the base, setting
like
the
it kind of
tone.
it kind of feels like a pitch. Like we're gonna pitch this. Let's drop a prototype. Let's drop a alpha build, whatever you want to call it.
Let's get the investors.
If I think of it, like I think there's lots. It's so hard because like they put more Easter eggs in the beginning of the movie than when they're in the Mushroom Kingdom. You know what I mean? Like I think they were catering to that 80s audience quite a bit in this movie. And I
Yeah, I'd
just
agree.
wanted more Mushroom Kingdom, you know? So like I think that's what we're gonna get with the sequels because you saw the awesome world map, right? And like that was a good call.
Yeah,
a good
that
call
was
out,
good.
right? So you saw that, and I think this movie is propelling us into the Mushroom Kingdom, right? And
You know what something I did not like was though? I don't like how it ended in Brooklyn. Like I felt weird
Like-
for it to come out of that world and be in Brooklyn.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, I mean, Mario and Luigi
But-
went back to the Mushroom Kingdom, though.
Yeah. And it just felt weird. I'm like, wait, so are we
I
just
don't
gonna
know,
ignore the fact
New Donk
that
City and like in Mario
I
Odyssey,
guess,
right?
yeah.
Like if
if
yeah.
Brooklyn is its own world and it's like everything is untouched, but then
Right.
Brooklyn is just another
Hmm.
world, then I'm fine. But
Yeah,
also,
so-
I've been trying to say this whole time,
Yeah.
so please, Jordan, just let me say this.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the fact that it started and ended in the same place. Where at the beginning, Mario is like picked on by Spike, and Spike's like, "You're a rat," or whatever. I don't know what he said. And he's like, "I'm not a rat." Wow, that kind of sounded like Chris Pratt to me, but maybe not.
You're doing great, Josh.
And then at the end, he's like hidden there and he's like, no, I'm gonna die. Which I was really distracted by his one eye that wasn't fully opened. Did you see that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. His one eye was like, I'm like, is it just like a black eye or whatever?
Yeah, he was
But
like this a lot. Like it was
Yeah. And then I don't know, that was just really distracting to me for whatever reason. And then he eventually like stands up for himself and his brother, and it just shows that like even though it wasn't like super clear that there was character growth because the movie was really fast, you could still see it in that.
Well, it was clear. It was good, and it was a good moment. I liked the moment, and I like that they grabbed Bowser's tail and swung him. Just like I was like, they better do that.
That was Mario 64.
They better do that, and they did it. I was
Yeah.
like, you better do that, movie.
And they're just like,
I would be very
beating him off.
disappointed. So, like, to answer your question, Payton, like, I don't think it matters if I think of it as a pilot. It just, that's how it felt. Like, it felt bare bones in that way at times. Because I'm not disappointed by this movie. Like, this movie, just like the Bowser swinging part, I was like waiting for it the whole movie. Like, they better do that. And they did it, you know? So, like, it did all the right things at the right moments. I want more of it. I think that's the problem.
I think
So,
there was
yeah.
something else that I was waiting for in the movie that didn't happen.
Well,
Do you remember what I
don't know.
Well, no, there was one thing that I'm like, I hope they call back to this.
Oh, I was
But they
waiting for a
didn't,
good
and I can't remember
underground
what it was.
scene.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
they kind of had it.
Yeah, but they didn't get the music. You know, you didn't get any
No.
of the pipe
You
noises.
didn't hear the
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
It was-
or like
it-
an
that-
underwater scene.
Payton, it was
There
there.
was a-
there was a real quick
it was
bar
that
of
music was there.
Was it? I missed it.
It's really
Yeah,
Dang,
it's,
that's a
it's at the
bummer.
very
That was the first point
It's at the
where
very
I was
beginning,
like, "Oh
yeah.
my gosh!"
it's when they
like
swing
my brain.
they swing into like they
It's when they go down into
they find the secret tunnel area
Okay.
and then the music's
Yeah.
got like
So
it's
that-
like a synth and then it goes like
Oh,
really
I
quickly
totally missed that.
and it fades off. Like it's really
It's so
subtle.
cool.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
like all this. The music was all hidden in the score.
Yes. Yeah. Really
Of
well.
like It was so
The
cool.
music's
And
probably the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
found out
Yeah.
like very like recently, maybe this year or something, which I never thought of this, and I don't know why I didn't. But the level 2 in Mario is the sewers, and
Mm.
I never put two and two together.
Yes.
I always just thought, oh, they're in a cave, but they went into the sewers.
Yes.
So technically, they went from level 1 to level 2.
And the very first arcade game ever, Super Mario Brothers, was in a sewer. So all that stuff looked like that. It looked like that game.
So technically,
yeah.
there was underground, and then like short amounts of underwater, but
So like but like there was, I wanted a Boo sequence.
oh yeah,
Like I can go on and on about the stuff we're probably gonna get fed to us.
Yeah.
And we're gonna throw our money at it, right? So there was just not as much Nintendo as I thought there would be. That's my main criticism. But let's go to our ratings, and then we'll end it off after that. But Payton, what's your metric? What's your rating metric that you want to introduce to us?
Yeah. Okay, so Josh,
No
you
pressure.
use doors, and Jordan, you use stars, right?
Yes.
and Curtis
Old
uses
school.
Bannock.
Yes.
Okay, of
Bannock's-
course he does.
Bannock.
Yeah. Okay,
World
I
of
think
the
you guys should
oyster.
go first. I gotta think about what my metric is.
Okay, Josh, what would you give this movie out of 10 doors?
Oh man, see, I'm sure it will change because as soon as I watch it again, but I feel right now it's like 8.59.
Out of
Okay.
10. Wow, that's high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't look past the part like this movie made me feel good. Like
Mhm.
I haven't smiled that much in so long. Or just like the whole movie, I was just smiling and smiling, just like looking at it and finding the Easter eggs, which Easter eggs to me in video games are like so fun to find.
Right.
I'm a collector in games. I love finding secret
Mm.
things. And so that has always been my favorite part of things. And so just looking for all the different things. And it's always been in media. Like I love when I read a book in English class and then it mentions it in my favorite show. I'm like, whoa,
Right.
I understand that.
Right.
So
Real world
it just feels so
crossovers.
satisfying. It feels so satisfying. I'm like, wow, I know things. And so this movie it works so good. So I think it really deserves like a 9. Just based off of how it made me feel, how much fun I had. Plus I got to hang out with some of my favorite people. So
It was fun. It was a good time.
yeah.
Peyton, have you figured out?
Yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna go with light bulbs. Because, like,
Hey.
okay, just
go.
how much I have to think about a movie. If I think about a movie a
Plus, there's
lot,
one
usually
behind
means I
you.
like it a lot. Yeah, got a light bulb here.
Nice. Good
I'd
job.
give
Wow,
this
on brand.
Yeah. I'd give this movie probably an 8 out of 10 light bulbs.
Oh
Yeah,
okay.
lots of connections to make, lots of like like world connections. Yeah, like I think that's what you're saying, Josh, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just made a lot of memories pop up, and I've still been thinking about it, obviously, because Peaches is stuck in my head.
Yes.
Peaches.
Give us another
peaches.
song. I know, and the scene at the end where he's like shrunken and he's little,
Oh,
but
that's
it's like
so good.
it's done close up, and you don't know who he's little again or still, and it pulls out he's in that little cage. And
Also,
it's
I
really good.
saw so many things where it's like this song could win best original song at the Oscars.
People are
No, it
petitioning for
can't.
it.
Yeah,
People are petitioning for it.
I hope
Yeah.
it does. I think that'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, by the time Oscars are here, people won't think it's as funny. But
Yeah, so out of 5 stars, I'm going to give this movie 3.5 out of 5. And yeah, this movie is great. It's very enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. I think as an animated film, it is mediocre, like as an animated film.
do you prefer it would have been live action?
No. Like, there's animated films that are better films, is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
But this
yeah, I
movie
know.
is just like popcorn fun. It's enjoyable. It's kind of a breath of fresh air because it's super colorful. There isn't a lot of stakes in it, and that's okay with Mario because it's fun watching him jump around and
And
the
you know the
jokes were
story.
funny. Yeah, we know the story. The jokes were funny, and it's just a good time. Like like it's just I can't wait to watch it again. My score might bump up to 4, but I do hope that they improve on the things that I brought up in the future movies. I hope they, I do hope they come up with a braver story. Like I hope that,
Mm.
or even if we just get a whole Luigi's Mansion like spin-off movie, like because that story is
Yeah.
great. Like, hey, you want a
Mhm.
vacation home and it's like this haunted mansion. Like that's a great story in itself. So I hope that because this movie does feel very safe in a lot of ways. So I hope that they see all the money they made and say, hey, we can branch out a little bit more in different areas instead of trying to please absolutely every single person that has touched a Mario IP, right? So, because I think that's what has happened with this movie is that it's just trying to span so many different kinds of Mario games, right? From Mario
Yeah.
Kart
Yeah.
to the originals to Mario
Was there any
Odyssey, right?
Sunshine in there?
Any what? Sorry, Josh.
Super Mario Sunshine. Did
I
you
don't
notice anything?
recall.
I'm not too familiar with the game, so
But
I
that's
didn't catch anything for it.
That's another like spin-off thing that could happen, right? Like because the story of that game, Payton, is that Mario and Peach go on vacation, and then
Okay.
where they
Hmm.
go on vacation is all like
That
muddy and
seems.
dirty.
I
And
honestly wouldn't be surprised if they made a show because
of
they've
that,
they've
yeah.
made shows for a lot of the Illumination.
Well, I would love that because I
movies.
loved the sequences between Mario and Peach in this movie. I thought the
Hmm.
two actors were really good, and I just that would be awesome. So, yeah, so that's my score of the movie. It's a great film. I think we all recommend it, right? We all recommend it to
Totally.
everyone to go see it,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
yeah.
you can show it to your kids if you have kids.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
Or
I
to
think I would
somebody else's
do I think I
kids.
would do like 4 and up or 5 and up, like as a disclaimer. There are some
Infant.
sequences like the Luigi, and the ghost. Like it
Just cover
Luigi
the.
in the forest, that part's kind of scary with the
Yeah.
flashlight, right?
The
For a
dry
kid.
ones were actually terrifying.
Yeah, in a good way.
Oh, but it was so good. It was
Yeah,
so
the
good.
dry bones are great.
Because they're terrifying in the game sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember playing as a kid, I'm like, no, stay dead, stay dead, and then come back up, and I'm like,
Yeah, that
and
was
then
great.
step on it again, and I'm like, stay dead, and
And then they're coming out of the ground like Evil Dead. It was awesome. And
Yeah.
that was really good.
Which, by the way, I was thinking like when he like destroyed the dry bones, I'm like, if you freeze it and then bum drop on the freeze, then it's dead forever.
There
Like
you go.
I was thinking of like this movie made me think
Of what you would
of the
do.
way I'd think playing the
Yes.
games, and so I thought that was really cool, and they brought back so many memories, and I was just.
And Peyton, we're gonna wrap up just like how Josh likes Mario movie, starting off with our first comment that we heard from you.
Hmm.
The fact that I loved how this movie treated the gameplay sequences, like you said, Peyton. The Last of Us does a good job of doing that as well, of like
Okay.
filming things in a different way to make it to kind of celebrate the gameplay and make you and to film the gameplay in a certain way. I don't know how to describe it, but The Last of Us also does a good job of like filming the gameplay and how it would look in a film setting,
Hmm.
and Mario did that really well as well. So
Yeah. No, I've seen a lot of like side by side videos and photos of The Last of Us game versus the show, and
the show,
yeah, it's really impressive how they've done that. I've never played the game, but yeah, looks super interesting.
So we just watched. I mean, we just talked about 2 amazing video game adaptation into film, like
Wow.
adaptations. That's amazing.
Mhm.
This is so uncalled
'Cause that-
for because
that's been rare. Because Sonic is terrible, right, Peyton?
no,
You don't
I
like Sonic?
hated it.
Yeah.
no, Sonic is good.
So that like the
Peyton,
2
I'm
very
sorry.
successful video game movies. That's kind of uncalled for. It's kind of crazy.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, to be fair, Sonic did really well, and I've heard
It
a
did
lot
do
of
well,
good things
yeah.
about it. Actually, I think Peyton is the first person I've heard that did not like it.
Really?
she is not the first person. I haven't seen it, but she is not the first person I heard that.
Mm.
All of my people
I actually
hate
didn't
that
even
movie,
finish it.
so, yeah.
All of my people.
All of my people. But yeah, that's our show.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Payton, is there
And
anything you want to add before we sign off? Anything,
Oh
do you have
man.
any other questions or?
No, I think that's it for me. It's been so much fun to hang out with you guys tonight, so thanks for having me on. Hope I can come back again, and I'm down to talk about anything, so
by the
let's
way,
go.
Peyton,
Well,
if
yeah.
you're skipping to the end of this, because I know you might be,
I think Josh.
or to anyone else who tried to skip to the end of this, I'm not telling you the phrase. It's somewhere in the episode.
There you go.
So next week, Josh, we're reviewing The Rocket, right? A hockey movie.
Yeah.
It's in French, by the way, so subtitles. Just
Oh,
warning you.
nice.
It's in French.
Yeah, Maurice Richard. The
I'm
Rocket.
learning French.
He was from Quebec, man.
I'm learning French,
there
so
you
that's
go.
pretty cool.
Good practice. It'll be like homework.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're welcome. And then Josh, like, should we pick? You want to do a hockey movie, but technically the week after it's my turn to pick, and I'm gonna pick The Babadook.
Oh, nice.
So I'm telling you this now,
So, are we
Payton,
getting
because
Payton
we'll
back
bring
on?
Payton back on. Yeah.
Excellent.
And we will review The Babadook in 2 weeks, and the next week will be The Rocket. But if you want us to review a certain movie, the last 2 weeks before this episode, we had some shout outs and some people write in with movies they wanted us to review. So let us know what movies we need to review.
I'm gonna say this: give us a bunch of recommendations, because when it comes to summer,
Yes.
there's a chance we're gonna record a lot of them before summer.
They won't
and then
be
release them.
during the exact
So-
week. Yeah.
So if you give us a bunch of recommendations, we'll keep them for
Yes.
the summer, and then
And we will review The
Yeah.
Patriot because Josh is watching it, so we'll
What?
review that. So when
What?
when we post
so
stuff
boring.
like, have you even seen The Patriot?
yeah, but I
No,
don't want
you
to watch
haven't.
it again.
Be quiet,
I watched. I told you I watched that in
Josh.
school.
That'll be a divisive episode. But instead of me dunking on your movie, there you go. That'll be like a revenge
Oh, there's
episode.
a chance I'll like it again. I
So-
haven't seen it in like.
So
8
yeah,
years.
so when you write in stuff like that or like comments on our socials, we will acknowledge that and review those movies as well.
I'm just saying
So-
the Patriot feels so random. It's like today's episode is on the Patriot. Like what?
Well, The Rocket isn't random. Like some hockey movie
it's
no one's
hockey.
even heard of, probably.
I'd say it's pretty random, but
It is
also, like,
pretty
you guys
random.
have been talking about hockey, so it makes sense.
So there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
See that we haven't been talking about like
I
Civil
don't know.
War.
I don't
or
know.
whatever
I
it's
don't
about.
know if we're gonna have Payton on again because she always agrees with Josh. So it's like 2 against 1.
I like it. I have
No way.
I have been really
I like
enjoying
it.
this because when Curtis was on, you guys decided to bully me, and so now me and Peyton can
There
bully
you
you.
go. There you go. Perfect.
Or well,
I'll just
Peyton
bully
probably
both of
won't,
you
but I
guys. I
yeah,
can do that
that's
too.
why she's
Honestly-
here. Yeah.
Get Hannah on here.
Keep you guys
Hannah
in
can
line.
speak her mind on you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for listening, for watching. Please share our show with your friends. Like us, hit the
Payton.
bell on YouTube. I know Josh hates that stuff, but do it anyways. And subscribe to our channel. And you can listen to us on
please
all
go
of
to the
our
Twitter.
all of your major podcast platforms.
Are we on Amazon now?
I don't even know if that's a platform, Josh. I tried Googling it. I couldn't find it.
I tried
so-
to also, but like somebody told me to put it on Amazon. I was like,
Well, we'll try. We'll try.
Okay.
Thank you for the shout out to that person. I encourage you.
although they wouldn't be listening if it's not on
just
Amazon.
encourage that person to, Apple is like our
Burp.
main podcast. Like when you look at the stats, it's like
Yeah.
Apple is like 80%. Spotify is
Well, I
sorry,
listen to
Spotify-
music on Spotify.
Apple is 70%.
use Apple Podcasts.
Spotify is like 10, I think, and then Google is like
Wow.
under 1. Yeah.
Well,
So
there's probably one person who uses Google.
so. Anyways, that's
Is
it.
it you, Peyton?
It is Payton.
It's me.
But Josh,
It is me. Don't forget to close the door on the way out.
ciao.